Hey, what's going on, everyone? Matthew from therighttrader.com back today with another daily crypto update. Now, I wanted to talk in this video about the potential of an altcoin extinction, meaning that a lot of altcoins might die off in the future, and kind of give you my thoughts about that. I'd be interested to hear yours, so definitely let me know in the comments down below. We had a great discussion going on in the previous video, but I'd be interested to get a discussion going in this video about what's going to happen with altcoins specifically. I'm also going to talk about Bitcoin. Is it truly safe or not? Keep in mind, um, everything in this video is just my personal opinion and not financial advice. With that being said, over the past 24 hours, cryptos did move a bit lower. Bitcoin holding up once again relatively well here, especially compared to the altcoins. And it actually did drop below $6,000 over the past 24 hours. However, we're now trading at above $6,100. So nice little bounce there. We're able to get back above $6,000. So we're going to talk about that in much more detail during the technical analysis because that $6,000 mark is definitely important. And as you can see, altcoins still very much in the red at this point. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter for live cryptocurrency market updates. I've been more active on there, so make sure to follow me to be updated on what's happening with the marketplace. And I wanted to jump into some pretty interesting news pieces. So we're going to start off with the fact that Charlie Lee mentioned in this tweet that he bought his first BTC at $30 and watched it tumble to $2 in the next year. He said that if you can't stomach a 90% drop in crypto, don't adopt early. Now, it's pretty interesting and funny because a lot of people here mentioned how a 90% loss would mean that you'd have to get a huge amount of gains um, just to recover your money back. But what's interesting with this statement is the fact that the long-term view of this, right? And if we go back right now for Bitcoin, and this is something that I'll probably make a separate video about altogether, but if we really zoom out, right, and we take a look at the past, what we'll see is Bitcoin and other altcoins out there, right, Ethereum, Litecoin, have had these cycles, right, these almost boom and bust cycles where we go sky high and then we come crashing back down. For now, the pattern has been that every time that we go back up, right, we actually ended up going higher than the previous time. So for Bitcoin specifically, we had the 2013 crash, and of course, after that, we dropped significantly, went lower from there, and ended up recovering, right, getting our most recent run up, which we're now dropping down from. But the fact remains that this does bring a certain amount of opportunity if we were to move back up, right? Because we're significantly lower than we were previously, and even if we drop lower from here, we've seen that it's pretty unlikely that cryptocurrencies just die off as a whole, right? That would have happened in the past if that was a possibility. So at this point, it's just these cycles, right, that we've been seeing, and it's a cycle. I'll try to show it on the Ethereum chart as well here, but basically, these periods are potentially a period of great accumulation where you could be getting in at very cheap prices on Bitcoin or even altcoins and make a huge profit on the next run up, right? So just something to think about. I just wanted to throw that out there. Like I said, I want to make a separate video on that. Not financial advice, just my personal opinion, but it is something that I wanted to mention as a possibility, right? Of course, we have no way to know what's going to happen over the next couple months and years for sure, but based on the historical data, there could be a nice opportunity there, right? So I like this tweet just to illustrate the long term there, and just think about the fact that Bitcoin was at $30 at one point, dropped all the way down to $2. So imagine if you get it there compared to the price that it's at now, right? So I think the long term perspective here is important, and kind of in a similar area of this, I wanted to talk about the altcoin market. Now, we've already seen Bitcoin has a lot of institutional interest right now. Fundamentally, it is strong. It has a lot of trust. It's the reason why it's still holding up well right now. And even in the past, right, when it did get its big drops, just held up better than other coins. Definitely the market leader, and I don't see this changing anytime soon. Its dominance has been going up. I think it'll continue to do so. I think that we're going to be above 60% of dominance very soon here. We're currently at 54.4%, which is already the highest we've been in a very long time. And now a lot of people are speculating that the altcoin market might die off, right? So, for example, here we have the president of Xapo that mentioned that he thinks that the current conditions are conducive to producing an extinction level event for cryptocurrencies in general, right? And definitely we're talking mostly about altcoins here, right? Those are the ones that would, of course, be the most likely to die off in this type of situation. So basically, he said that 90% plus of CoinMarketCap's list will disappear eventually, and that it might as well happen now. So I don't necessarily agree with that 100%, but what I do agree with is that at this point, seeing how Bitcoin is very favorable right now, and of course, there's a ton of altcoin projects that are mostly trash. It is quite likely that we do see a lot of them die off, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think that any that do actually have something behind them and that are good will remain throughout the hard times. They might take a big hit, but they will remain and will thrive when the time comes. But the fact remains that there could be, definitely a pretty severe hit to the altcoin market, right? I think that's no surprise there. But some people question that, right? And understandably, this person on Reddit mentioned that why is everyone so convinced that all the altcoin market is going to die off? There's a bunch of specific coins for specific areas and industries that have something behind them. So why should they die off, basically, right? And there'll always be hype around the corner to push them back up, and that's also something to think about, right? No, when the periods of hype comes, I think that even the some of the worst coins or just any coin that's able to pick up on the hype will probably get a significant increase. So there's both sides to this, and that's why I want to know your thoughts on the altcoin market and where it's heading in the future, right? Are we heading towards a big extinction of altcoins, or is it just a temporary cycle, right? Let me know in the comments below. But I'd definitely be interested to hear your thoughts on that. And just reading through this comment over here, basically that, large amount of the projects are garbage, right? And that moments like these help expose these projects that are not really trustworthy in the long term, right? And I think that makes a lot of sense. So let me know your thoughts about the altcoin market. And with that being said, we're going to jump into the Bitcoin technical analysis. So starting off here, RSI looking not too bad, right? Definitely a little bit of stabilization there. We might see a little bit of rounding up on the MACD. Still pretty early though. We seem to be holding now at this point. Let me go ahead and zoom in nicely here. We seem to be holding quite well that $6,000 mark for the time being. And once again, this drop somewhat just started in a way, so it is very early to tell if we're going to be able to hold above $6,000 or not. For now, we did make a lower low compared to the low back here. We did still remain above the low over here, which was at around $5,800. So that's definitely an area to pay attention to if we were to get a bit of a dip here below our support line. But still a lot of selling volume, still the Bollinger Bands middle band downtrending. And right now we're at the end of this initial symmetrical triangle formation. So we're going to know pretty quickly here within the next day if we're going to be able to, move out of that, or if we're going to move towards the downside, right? Start moving towards $5,000, which any move I'd say below $5,800 would be pretty much a full confirmation, in my opinion, that we're heading down to $5,000. So we'll know within the next 24 hours where we'll be heading. If we do remain above our support level at $6,000, I think that it's going to be onwards towards the next symmetrical triangle formation that we have, which then of that formation is at $6,100, and we should be reaching that in about 3 weeks or so. So that's where I think we're heading next, right? If we're able to remain above our $6,000 support level. And that would mean that Bitcoin would hold up pretty well, which, like I said, I think that if any cryptocurrency here has a chance of holding up well, it's Bitcoin. And then the wild card is the ETF approvals or rejections, and that will set the path from there. But obviously, we can't really predict what's going to happen with that. So moving on to Ethereum, just going to zoom out a bit to give you a long-term view of what's going on, because it's pretty crazy to think about the drop that we had here for Ethereum. So not that long ago, we were at $10, huge run up from there. Now we're getting pretty nasty head and shoulders formation. So I think that we're going to be heading into some kind of consolidation here for quite some time. and that's probably going to be the case for a lot of cryptocurrencies out there. Like I said, I want to talk about that in more detail in a separate video, but just worth mentioning already now. So basically, we did move below our $273 support level. Might get a reattempt at trying to get back above that. Not expecting it to hold that much. Huge amount of selling volume. Still very weak here for Ethereum, right? Everything pointing downwards, and I think that there's a very fair chance that we end up going even lower into this range of down to $220. So probably going to get some type of consolidation between $220 and $273. Maybe at best, we'll hold a little bit above $273, but right now we're still pointing towards the downside. I'd say that's the general direction, and then relatively soon we should start consolidating, right? But that consolidation could last months based on previous price history in situations like these, right, with crypto. So let's go ahead, take a look at Litecoin. Litecoin and Ethereum are a little bit of a similar basket here. So also in a range. Next support level I'd say is $45. That's where I think we're heading next. Still downtrending on all fronts, no real signs of bounce or recovery, so I wouldn't expect any type of stabilization until we hit $45. At that point, we might start to stabilize as we move forward towards the end of this triangle right here. And so that's just a little bit of a hint to what might happen next. Let's go ahead and take a look at Nano here. Nano is currently moving lower. Like I said, Nano doesn't really have anything fundamentally even to hold it up right now. It's one of the smaller altcoins, so I don't think it's going to weather a storm too well, and it hasn't really, right? It's dropped so much. So at this point, I think the next stop is 10,000 Satoshis, and I think we could even move lower than that. So until we get some kind of clear sign of stabilization, and I'm really talking about a formation of a pretty significant base, I think Nano is pretty dangerous over here. Let's go ahead, take a look at Ripple, see what's going on. Ripple is currently below 30 cents, so it's basically in this range now between 15 cents and 30 cents. I think that's going to continue for quite some time, and probably even months at this point, unless we're able to get a relatively quick bounce within the next month or so, and a bounce that would be significant based on some kind of bullish event like Bitcoin ETF approval or something like that. I think that we're in for a pretty long consolidation here for Ripple. Let's go ahead, take a look at NEO, see what's going on. So we're going to go over to the Bittrex chart here once again, and NEO has definitely been weak, especially compared to the strength it had just a few months ago. So a bit of a shift there has absolutely happened, and at this point, right, we're really looking at pretty lengthy consolidation between $13 and $20. I was spot on with my prediction of it reaching $13. For now, I think we'll be able to stabilize a bit. Hopefully, we won't move below that because it would be pretty disastrous at that point. But for now, I'm expecting some consolidation, some stabilization to start. If we do end up moving below the support level, next stop is $10, and if we don't bounce there, then it's a move below $10, which is a major support level because of that big round number, and then it's really going to be a nasty free fall from there, I believe. Let's go ahead, take a look at EOS, see what's going on. EOS is currently testing its 7,000 Satoshi support level. Very consistent downside and selling volume here on the indicators and on the price. We'll see if we're able to stay above $7,000. I'm not hoping too much. I still feel like if the market takes another hit, which is quite likely at this point, we're going to be heading onwards towards 5,450 Satoshis. So I think that might be our next stop if we move below our 7,000 Satoshi support level. Let's go ahead, take a look at Stellar Lumens now, see what's going on. So moving over to the Binance chart here, we can see that Stellar is holding up actually, I would almost say very well considering what other altcoins are doing. I like it fundamentally. I think that it's becoming one of the most stable altcoins actually. It's even more stable than Ethereum right now. So I like Stellar here. I think that we're going to see it weather any type of storm well and thrive when the good times come around, whenever that might be. Right now, we're holding up on the indicators. Price holding up very well. We've got some Bollinger Bands contracting towards the price, which means that probably going to get some consolidation here, and that could last quite some time, right? The end of the symmetrical triangle formation is all the way up until mid to early November, so we could be relatively flat with a couple ups and downs during that time period. But if we're able to stay in the symmetrical triangle formation, that's already pretty good compared to a lot of altcoins which are looking very bearish right now. Let's go ahead, take a look at Lisk. Lisk has been very weak. Um, Kind of similar to Neo, basically just in complete free fall mode here. No support at all, really. Like I said, I expect this to keep going lower. I've been very accurate on my predictions with this for the time being. Full free fall mode, huge amount of selling volume. I think we won't see any type of stabilization that really lasts until we hit $2. Let's go ahead, take a look at Cardano. Cardano has definitely been, trouble avoiding the drop. And like I said, I think our next stop is 1,254 Satoshis. It's an area that I think was necessary to test since this initial breakout right here, and we never got a nice test of that, really, I'd say. So we're basically kind of coming back and closing this gap, right? And that's good because at least after that, it'll be out of the way. But for now, I'd say 1,254 Satoshis is our next area to test and stabilize. So weak for now. We're seeing it kind of fall off a cliff, and that should lead to a pretty quick move down to there. Hopefully, once we reach that level, we will start to see some stabilization. Let's go ahead, take a look at our last cryptocurrency of the daily crypto update, which is going to be IOTA. Now falling lower pretty consistently here on the price and on the indicators. A lot of selling volume, and really next support level is 33 cents. This is another situation of going back to pre-run up levels and testing kind of the gap, right? Closing the run up that we've made. So I would expect some consolidation for quite some time after testing 33 cents. If we do end up moving below 33 cents, then we're looking at a pretty concerning bearish market for IOTA and for altcoins, where we really could get some kind of major extinction of altcoins. With that being said, this is the end of this daily crypto update. Thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts below on the altcoin market. Make sure to follow me on Twitter for live cryptocurrency market updates, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great day.